We have a mission and vision of providing hope, healing, and restoration to victims and survivors of human sex trafficking and exploitation by providing them an opportunity to learn to live fully beloved by Jesus. The goal and mission of Learning to Live Beloved Ministries is to help shine a light in the dark places where trafficking and exploitation is happening. So we do this in a number of ways. We provide advocacy to those who are in need by linking them to victim service agencies that would suit the trauma they've endured or the resources that they need. We also provide housing through the Well House, and we just really want to help people understand better who she is. The individuals we're helping are not a number or statistic. They are individuals who have hearts, who are hurting, who have needs, who need to be shown respect and dignity. So we really want to help the community better understand who she is and how they can help her. So what really led me to starting Learning to Live Beloved Ministries is quite a journey. Originally, I wanted to be a speaker and author, and I thought that ministry would be called something along the effects of Learning to Live Beloved. But God had a different plan in mind, and about 2 years ago, He had me meet a survivor of human trafficking, and this really opened my eyes to this issue. It was something I'd heard of before, but I didn't truly understand. And when I met her and stood before her and heard her story and looked her in the eyes, it was something I could no longer ignore, because it wasn't just something happening somewhere else. It was a real person standing in front of me who had been hurt and abused. And so as I went home and prayed and talked to God and said, what do I do with this pain in my heart now for these individuals who are all around me that I wasn't recognizing? He showed me that I've been looking so intimately at a map, like so pinpoint on what I thought I would do with the gifts He had given me, and sharing beloved and sharing how to leave shame behind and walk in the worthiness that Christ gives us, and that there was a way that I could reach many women who were suffering from those things in a broader way. And that's where Learning to Live Beloved Ministries was born. First, I wasn't really sure what it would be, but He showed me through asking questions and praying that it would be through a home where women could come and stay and find safety and healing and hope and restoration through Him and understanding His love for them. So right now, our main project that we're working on in Learning to Live Beloved Ministries is the Well House, where I sit today. This house was graciously donated to us early on, and it kind of was this act of faith to accept it. It was very run down and it needed a ton of work, and now we're at a stage where we're about to paint, which is so exciting. This house will be able to have 3 women stay in it at a time for 4 to 6 weeks, where they will do sober living. They will have round-the-clock care. They will get to do some curriculum where we're learning healthy habits and how to function well outside of the dysfunction they've lived in for a long time. They'll have therapy specific to their trauma, and just a time to really take a step back from what they've been dealing with and decide if they're ready to pursue long-term restoration, which we can then connect them with one of the 8 long-term facilities in PA or throughout the country that would best fit their needs. Things have been moving extremely quickly with Learning to Live Beloved Ministries. We were donated the house early on. We've done a ton of work this year as far as restoration. We hope to finish our renovations in May and be able to open our doors next fall of 2025. What's left to do here is painting. We have some things outside that need to be done, and then it'll be furnishing and getting everything ready for the women. Operationally, we're working on HR, we're working on how we're gonna hire employees and vet employees and training, and really just making sure that we have the background foundation super strong so that everybody that comes in is safe and knows that they're safe, and that we are structured well to keep this going for a very long time. What's really special about this house is what one of our volunteers noted very early on. Originally, when we got this house, it was down to the studs. And from the outside, it looked pretty cute. You wouldn't know it was quite as run down as when you open the door. There were things living here, dead and alive. It was cold, it was dark, and it was damp. And what's so cool is that it really self-prophesies the women that we want to serve. From the outside, you may pass them on the street and have no idea what's happening internally, the grievances that they're carrying, the trauma, the pain, the things that have been done to them. And in many ways, they're vulnerable to the elements, vulnerable to the people who want to take advantage of those weaknesses and vulnerabilities inside. And what we're coming alongside and doing is saying, I have hope for the potential that was placed on your life the moment you were conceived. And I want to speak that hope over you. And then I want to walk alongside you in your healing process and help you in that healing process by providing you a place in this home to stay. And ultimately, we don't want survivors to be walking around still as victims with a limp. We want to see full restoration, because that's what we believe that Jesus does. His love comes and not just heals us, but he covers that scar and he makes it as if it never happened before. And so that person is fully restored and walking in freedom. But we're so much more than just letting people know that it happens. We want you to understand who she is. We want you to understand her struggles, the barriers to her getting healing. It's very easy to judge people who are in the sex industry or who are being trafficked and think, well, they just want to be there, or they should be able to leave. If they're not being chained, then why don't they just walk out? And the reality is there's so much psychological damage that has happened long before they were ever trafficked. 90% of people who are in the sex industry don't want to be there. 90% of people who have been trafficked were physically, emotionally, or sexually abused as children, which created a vulnerability and a weakness that was perfect for a pimp to sweep in and become their knight in shiny armor. They're called Romeo pimps. And then quickly they turn into violence and psychological manipulation. So we really want to help people understand who this person is that we're serving and impart that passion and that compassion onto our community, that they can be a part of building this wall. This is not us as an island at Learning to Live Beloved Ministries fighting this on our own. We want you to feel strong and supported in being a part of that fight by understanding who this person is, understanding what trafficking really is, understanding that it happens here. Not only will that provide a safeguard for you and the people you love, but for women and men in our community who need that love as well. That's our job, to build our community strong and protect the weak and vulnerable and strengthen them, so that then this becomes a place where trafficking is not going to happen. Because if we have our eyes up and our hearts open, we're not going to be vulnerable to those kind of things. The best way for our community to partner with us on mission right now is to better understand what trafficking is. So when we have events, please come. Please invite your friends and your family. Please do your own research. There are websites like Polaris and the National Trafficking Hotline that have information to help you better understand what trafficking looks like in Pennsylvania. And at our events, we speak specifically to what it looks like here. We need financial support. We need about $20,000 to finish the well house, plus then about $500,000 in order to run for a year. $10 a day is all it takes to provide a woman safety in this home. And so really big, little, or small, people often say, oh, I can only give $25. When someone can give $25, I think that is a comforter for someone's bed. That is a plate that someone's going to eat off of, and that is so valuable before God, whatever you can give as far as your resources. And ultimately, please pray for us. This is a difficult battle. We face spiritual attacks all the time, and we know that the women that we want to serve are facing those as well. God is preparing a path for them to come to us. He's opening those doors, which is so exciting and invigorating, and yet we also know that the enemy is fighting. So we're asking you to pray for those barriers to be broken down, so at just the right time when our doors open, those women are ready and connected to us to come here. When I thought of the women caught in this mess of trafficking, I know that they're here, but they're hidden in many ways. And it made me think of the woman at the well in John 4. She was going out to collect water for her home and family, but she was going at noon. That wasn't the typical time of day that women would go out. It was very hot. But she was hiding. She was in shame. She didn't know her identity in Christ. And yet Jesus went out of his way to meet her there and to provide living water for her. Part of it is creating the well, and that's what we're doing here at the Well House. We're creating a spot for women to come and receive living water and be refreshed and be restored. And yet we also know in that advocacy portion and that getting out into our community and providing awareness, we need to go out and be the well every day, wherever we are as ministers of God. We need to go out and be that well and provide that living water in our day-to-day life. And the third thing we need to do is go to the well. So part of what we hope to do in the future is be able to do jail ministry outreach, support groups, and do strip club ministry outreach, and go to the well. Just like Jesus did, he went and sought that woman out where she was, hiding and afraid and in shame. So we as a ministry want to do that as well. We want to go to the well, to those dark places where others are not going, and bring the light and the hope of Jesus there. And I end with our organizational verse, Romans 9:25. I will call not my people, and she who is unloved, beloved.